The Wolves. This is your review for 2. Good day, my name is Joe Gerba. Today I'll be talking about the Wolves and how it plays with 2 players. Now the Wolves is a 2 to 5 player game, and this is an area control game. So there'll be 3 distinct points, the crescent moon, the half moon, and the full moon, where you'll do scoring. And whoever can put out the most points and accumulate the most points by the full moon wins the game. So let's see a little bit more how to play. So the Wolves is a pretty simple game. On your turn, you're going to get 2 actions, and you'll be going back and forth with the opponent. For your 2 actions, you'll be able to do certain things. However, it's going to cost you these tiles at the top of your board. Now, you may need to spend 1, 2, or 3 tiles of the same type. So if you want to do something on an ice action, you may have to spend 2 of these tiles. When you do, you just flip them over and they become a different type. So a lot of planning is required to move around the board, to place some of your dens, to replace some of your dens with these layers, which give you a lot more area control. You know, on your turn, you can use your alpha wolves to recruit more wolves by howling at them. Each one of these actions may get you closer to the end game scoring. So once scoring occurs on a couple of the boards, they may have the crescent moon, the half moon, or the full moon, depending on where you're at. You'll be doing your scoring and scoring points that way. And like I said, at the end of the game, once it reaches the full moon on this moonlight track, whoever has the most points wins the game. So let's see a little bit more what I thought about the game. So the components in this game, I kind of like it. It's just, you know, it's a few different tiles. You can kind of mix and match these. There's these little wolves, just the basic pack wolves. There's the alpha wolf, the dens, and the layers. It's kind of neat how everything fits together. It's a nice kind of easy box, kind of nice little components. I really like the components. Flipping these tiles is a lot of fun. The rules really aren't that complicated. This reference sheet, double-sided, is just great. This would be very easy to get back to the table just because the ease of it is to learn. So it does look very visually appealing on the table. So speaking of table size, I definitely think this can be played on a 3x3, even with the maximum of 5 players. Easy to get to the table. You just set up your pieces, get the main board all set up, and you're just about ready to go. All the other pieces are going to be put on these boards, and you'll just have a couple moons out here, but set up very easy, 5 minutes max to get this to the table. So let's talk about the gameplay a little bit. The gameplay in this game is pretty fun, especially when you look at 2 players. You do have kind of a dummy player out here, which just, they don't do anything. They just kind of get in your way and score a base number of points in some of these regions. But really, you're fighting with the other players. You know, you're really trying just to maximize your turns, your wolves, kind of keeping an eye on the moonlight track. It's kind of an interesting gameplay, just knowing if I flip this tile, I'll have 2 or 3 to do on this certain terrain tile. It's really neat and really high planning in this game. There's a lot of ways to block the opponents. Area control is not something that we normally gravitate to or have a lot of games, but this kind of fits a nice niche of, you know, a nice easy area control to get to the table. You know, and for 2 players, I know area control can be, you know, a little bit just tug-of-war-y on a couple of these, but this does a very good job of, you know, giving you that sense of, well, the other person's doing that, I can kind of see them setting up, let me counter by doing this. There's enough ways to score in this game to kind of keep it interesting, keeping an eye on the moonlight track and making sure that you're the one that triggers the 3 scoring points is crucial to this game. So flipping tiles, high planning, this game is actually a lot of fun for an area control. So this game really isn't hard to teach anyone. I'd say the difficulty is pretty low. It does require a lot of planning. The replayability is kind of maybe on the lower end, just due to there's not really a whole lot of variable setup minus how the tiles are placed in a 2-player game. However, this game plays so quick and that the playtime really isn't that long. I think it took us maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes to play the full game. It doesn't need to be, have that super high replayability variable start. The game's kind of going to play out mostly the same, just with the dichotomy of area control being you two are the ones kind of dictating how the game plays out. So not the highest replayability, and not a whole bunch of modular different ways to play, but an overall a good straightforward easy game to get to the table and play. So is this game good for two? And I will say that my wife and I really have enjoyed this game. We don't play a lot of area control. We don't play a lot of whoever has the most points on this tile at this point is going to score. It's just not really our style of game. However, this is just kind of neat because it does have a nice little theme. You're trying to grow your pack, trying to get your dens and layers out there, all while trying to plan what kind of tiles you have out there, what they're going to do. Are they going to be able to hunt some prey around there? Or are they really going to try to maximize their wolves and spring and get a lot of points during the last scoring full moon cycle? So it's really fun for two. The longevity of this game may be a little bit lower because of the replayability and the lack of variable, kind of start up and play. But for the ease of getting this to the table and the theme, this is a really good game for two. If you can play with a buddy, if you can play it a few times and maybe get your fill, that's great. It's a good game. Does it need to stay in a collection? Maybe not for someone who has, the Scythe, some of the bigger, area control kind of board games, but for someone who's just looking for a light intro, to the area control for the, 2 to 4 player kind of range, this is the game for you. Now, I don't think it would be as fun with 5. I think that'd be a little bit too much downtime in between, because the downtime for 2 really isn't very large. So I really like that part about this for 2 is you can be planning on what you're going to be doing, and the opponent doesn't have a huge chance to block you unless they dominate your wolves and take them over. But overall, a nice little game for 2. And kind of different style for us. So we really like this game, and hope you guys enjoyed the review. Until next time.